Well, it gives me great pleasure now to bring on board Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy, CEO of Bombay Stock Exchange, to talk about how 2025 will be different for BSE from last couple of years. BSE as a stock and as a franchise has really demonstrated a formidable comeback. BSE stock touched a record high in the course of 2024, and going forward, what should we expect in terms of new announcements, new platforms and new offerings from BSE? And my standard question, that will market hours be extended this year? So all that and much more in this very special interaction with the man of the moment, Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy. New Year greetings, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Happy New Year to you, and thanks for having me in your studio.
How will 2025 be different for BSE and for BSE shareholders from 2024?
See, all of us always have positive and good hopes about future. That is the way every Indian looks at everything. Same way, I also feel that 2025 is going to be a very great year because of various facts which are in front of me. Always when we look at positive things, we should also be cautious about what are the other things which can come in the way. Some of them could be controllable, some of them could not be controllable. So we always design our thought processes keeping in mind what positive points we can encash upon and what points we should be taking note of and working to minimize the impact of them. Overall, I feel 2025 is going to be a good year for us, particularly at BSE.
Are you hoping for more listings? Are you hoping for new platform and product launches? Are you hoping for extension of the market hour? When you say it will be a good year, what in a sense is giving you this confidence that it will be a better year than 2024?
Let me put it across in the following fashion. One is with regard, let me start with the primary issuances. If you look at the primary issuances, we had a very good and very great record year in the year 2024. When I look at the pipeline that is there, see, in the 2024 year, we did around 91 listings in the main board, around 1.5 lakh crores was raised from the market, and around 250 SMEs went live with the listing. Around 9,000 crores was raised from the market. If I look at the pipeline for the coming year is not bad in terms of DRHPs with SEBI. There is a good amount of around 1 lakh crores, which is what is being planned to be raised from the market. So the IPO appears to be a good one and looks to be in a good situation. When I look at mutual fund market, mutual fund is something which is nicely growing and more SIPs are coming in. Well, the year also saw the highest amount of redemption on specific days because of whatever the global market conditions and the FPI selling and all were witnessed. Notwithstanding that, I find the market as very resilient, infrastructure very resilient, regulatory features very resilient, and smaller SIPs being talked about, inclusion of women and youth being talked about, more and more knowledge creation happening. So I find mutual fund is in a good shape. The regulators had concerns about derivatives, whether there is too much of retail participation, or the retail is making a loss, how to control it was a thought process from a regulatory perspective. That has been brought into a form using 6 decisions from them. 3 have been implemented. 3 are under implementation till April 1. In the initial stages, though it is very initial stages, it appears the steps taken by the regulators in terms of the retail participation and all are seeing some effect. The notional volumes have come down by around 45%. The premium also has come down, but as far as BSE is concerned, the quality of premium is improving, which is a good indicator. Though it is too early days, I am very hopeful that the quality of premium will improve. There will be more participants in longer term instead of using it as just an expiry day product, which is what is the regulatory thought process as well. So I think there also we are doing well. And in terms of data vending, we have not made any headway till now. So we think that we will be able to make headway that will be good for us. And in respect of index, as you know, Nikunj, we acquired the 50% balance stake from S&P in May 2024. And so we are planning to build a good index business catering to the marketplace for generating more ETFs, more meaningful mutual fund schemes which could be benchmarked to us. So from all these fronts, I feel the year is good. The government is progressive. The regulators are very progressive. The market is progressing. So we feel there is a good amount of scope for us to do well. As I said before, there will be always factors which can come in the way. We should look at them and we should take care of them.
Specifically on the options volume, the data at least seems to be indicating that after the weekly expiry cycle, that whole process is over, there is a drop of 25 to 30% in F&O volumes. Does that hold true for BSE?
See, overall from a market perspective, actually in terms of notional, there has been a fall of around 45% volume if you compare December volumes with September. As I said, these months, September, October, November, December, had various other reasons also, because of which market was seeing lots of ups and downs. And also only 3 of the 6 points have been implemented till now. So given that, I am not able to clearly ascribe statistically all the things responsible to only to the SEBI decisions, since they are only partly implemented. And in terms of premium, there has been a fall of around 15 to 16% overall in the market. In respect of BSE's Sensex, there has been a fall in notional and there has been a marginal fall in premium. But the fall was slightly less because we had only one product. The market had multiple products. In terms of quality of premium, however, the BSE's quality of premium has improved well, with more action being seen on longer dated options compared to only expiry and expiry day. As you know, we had shifted the expiry day from Friday to Tuesday last week, so that the market participants have longer period available with them to trade longer dated options instead of using this as simply a expiry day product. I think the initial reaction from my side would be, they all appear to be working well. Having said that, we should at least wait till April end, since all the other conditions would have come into effect and we would have had an overall impact on what is happening in the market.
But in your understanding, sir, given that the complete framework would be at play now and currently only partial recommendations have been implemented, if the volumes are down 40 to 45%, could they dip further by the time it's implemented fully?
It is very difficult to say that if you implement more, it will come down further, or if you implement more, it will go up further, because volumes is a function of multiple factors. There are always opportunities in the next week and next week as well, and in the monthly contracts as well. People were more concentrating on expiry day, so you saw one type of a profile. So when the conditions are that, you cannot use options as an expiry day product. If that is becoming what is the regulatory thought process coming out, people will find more opportunities as to how plan for longer term eventualities and directional views in the market, and use derivatives in that sense, which is what is the way in which it should be used, which is generally what is the economic purpose of a derivative product. So we have to wait and watch how the market develops and how the other factors which I have been mentioning about develop and how the market reacts. So I am not able to put a straight line extrapolation telling 3 got implemented, this percentage of volume fall, 6 get implemented, it will be twice of that. No, I'm not able to put it that way.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. You started your first answer by talking about the primary market and how the pipeline for 2025 also looks very exciting. But allow me to put one more ingredient in the melting pot, which is the BSE SME listings. What is your view on the way how the SME listings for BSE would move for this year?
Let me give you a macro picture and then let me come to the picture of BSE. From a macro level, we are talking about 6.2, 6.3 crores of SMEs in the country. Today, what we are talking about is a total listing of some 1,000 plus companies across exchanges. All the 6.2 crore companies or 6 crore companies may not be big enough to come for listing or may not be requiring a listing as well. But from a gut, what I feel is at least 60,000 companies should be available for listing, should be having requirements for getting listed. At this point of time, we just have 1,000. So I feel there is a long way to go. When a growth happens, not necessarily only good things will come out. I just look at it like when you plant crops. You sow the seed, you water them, you put fertilizers. Is it only those seeds that you planted grow? There are also weeds going along with it. Then what do? You take away the weeds. Same way, when such type of an expansion in SMEs are happening, some bad companies also may try to come into the foray. That is when actually proactively the regulatory requirements come in. Fortunately, we have a setup where the regulations are always evolving and the regulators do in a co-creating way the regulatory process. So we have worked understanding the fact that more companies will come to the foray, a slightly tighter regulatory conditions for a company to be listed in SME, and also a requirement of public placing of the prospectus so that people can have a view on it instead of coming on the last day, just one day before the issue gets opened and putting certain things in public media, casting aspersions. They may be true, untrue, correct, incorrect. That's all different. But you cannot wait for the last day. That jeopardizes all the investors who are planning to put money. In SME, as you know, it is not retail investors. It is slightly qualified type of investors with a slightly higher risk appetite who are required to come. That's how the size has been fixed. Notwithstanding that, last minute we should not confuse. So the regulators have now stipulated a longer period where people can have a look and decide. So all these are very progressive steps. They may look tightening of conditions. Tightening is also progressive. And it is a co-created process with a due consultation. I feel therefore SMEs I always have felt this. I have always been a big patronizing person for SME listings because they are the backbone of this country in a big way. I think there is a great scope for SMEs in the country as a whole and also for BSE as a whole.
And this is a hallmark for any entrepreneur is when you take your company public. One big achievement for any entrepreneur is that when you move from the SME board to the main board. Given that the SME market now is quite a vibrant market and the size is there, do you see that in 2025 a lot of BSE SME listings may start moving to main board, and if they do, what does that mean for your business and what does that indicate in terms of the line of progress?
See, it is a natural process. When the country grows, when the economy grows, and individual companies grows, they are all entrepreneurs. They have put their life savings and they have all their ambitions into projects and they have come to the market. And I certainly feel with the positive outlook that we have for our country, SMEs will also grow and many of them will go into the main board. When they get into the main board, they may not be restricting their listing only to one exchange. They will get listed in multiple exchanges. They will not be restricting themselves as BSE listed, some other exchange listed. When they came to the main board, they would like to be seen everywhere. It's good for the country. More and more places they get listed, more and more liquidity comes in, their credibility increases, their capability to raise further finance increases, and therefore the capital formation increases. And it is very good for the economy. I think that is the way it should happen, and it will happen.
Now I'll introduce the second part of your initial answer, which is the mutual fund business and the star platform. You know, while we're conditioned to think of BSE as an exchange which is only in brokerage, I like to remind our viewers that no sir, that is not the fact. They also have one of the biggest platforms in India, which is in mutual fund distribution. Now sir, given that how mutual fund distribution as a business is growing, but there is a lot of disruption and there is a lot of competition which is intensifying by the fintech players. How do you see your mutual fund distribution business moving and growing going forward?
See, this is a very good question you are asking. Honestly, let me put it this way. This is not true only with mutual fund. Every area you will find, if you are doing well, there will be other aspirants who also would like to come there. Because you are doing well, you are setting an example. So others also want to follow your example and see what best they can contribute. Unfortunately or fortunately, we call it as competition. But from an economic perspective, it is aspirations being expressed by entry of new people or existing people improving their standing. So when this happens, what people like us who are already entered should do. This is the theme for our BSE employees and ourselves this year. We want to improve the customer experience and we make it as a customer delight. Every one of us have multiple customers. Customers are both, they are basically stakeholders, both internal and external. So today we are becoming global. Every Indian is thinking global. So therefore the competition or whatever we are talking is just not within India. It is just not equity derivatives and mutual fund. There are many more new things are coming in the market. The finfluencers are shifting from equity derivatives advice to certain other things, whether you call it as asset class or whether it is called as a trading opportunity. So in that sense, therefore, there are multiple things inside and outside the country which can try to come and have a piece of the pie which you are looking upon to build your business. So what is most important is, what is the customer experience that you provide? Are you making the customer to have a painful experience or the experience is going to result as a customer delight? If it is going to be a customer delight, he is going to continue with you and you are able to grow it. So what gives customer delight? Whatever processes we are doing, they should be made better. Or whatever we are doing already good, they should be made better. Whatever we are doing bad should be rectified to become good. And processes which we are doing, which are not necessary to be done at all. There are waste processes because the process design is faulty. You should change. This makes the things as a customer delight. Once you do that, you create customer stickiness and they will continue. The country is very big. The evolving and emerging youth and women power is very, very high. The disposable income in the hands of them is expected to go up. So we need to reach them. We need to provide them a good customer experience, and we should ensure they take right decisions by creating investor awareness and investor education. Then I think it's good for all, and there are more than one player who can exist in this system.
I think your mutual fund business will grow? And also, are you looking at extending it to something in insurance as well? Because that's one area where one would imagine and say that, look, the commission structures are still very fat. A player like BSE can easily come in and disrupt the space.
See, to give a specific rate is very difficult because every number is dependent on multiple factors. Directions are easy to say. Milestones are very difficult to give. So I am not able to provide a rate at which it will grow. There are lots of areas where things are growing. consumption is growing, income is growing, employment is growing, savings will grow, percentage of household savings coming into financial market is growing. So they all will decide the rate at which it will grow. As with regards to extending into insurance, well, exchanges should always be looking out to provide services in areas where they could make a meaningful contribution. Having said that, what is the core competency? We are regulated people. What all areas we can enter into, we cannot enter into, also should be brought in mind, placed in mind before taking any decisions. Exchanges are always open to provide service where we need to make people get into a platform and make a choice when there are multiple choices. So from that sense, exchanges are always open to do what more they can, what more ways they can help the markets.
Question. And if I, let's say, look at your tenure, there are some monumental changes which you've incorporated. One, ensuring that the entire BSE, SME, IPO experience remains flawless. And it's not easy considering that you are dealing with breadth of companies here. Second, you were able to bring BSE back on the derivative market where BSE had almost lost its presence and they had a minuscule market share. So what is the next big move or strategy you are likely to implement, considering that you're in regulated authority, but that does not stop you from expanding or experimenting or challenging?
First of all, while you are kind enough to ascribe it to me, I don't think it is because of one single human being. It is because of all the stakeholders who are joining together to find alternate products which they can use for the betterment of market. I'm a very, very small portion of this entire group which has brought the changes what you call as monumental, that is your kindness. As far as our strategy is, there are two parts which I look into it. Whatever we have achieved as a group put together, we should make it sustain. So what all things I should do at the helm of affairs to make it sustained for long. That would include a lot of infrastructure creation in terms of talent creation, retention, grooming, infrastructure creation in terms of physical infrastructure, technology, technical, all that stuff. We are working in a big way on it. And with that infrastructure, what you deliver, that is customer delight, which is again we are working for it. And second is futuristically looking at what more we can do. At this point of time, that is another area which we have taken up very seriously. We feel we should diversify our revenue bases. It should not be simply trading revenue coming out of equity and equity derivatives. Mutual fund is a very good area where I shared with you what is the thought process of ours. We also acquired our index company 50% stake from SPDJI last year, May 2024. We want to build on the index business. That is another important area for us. As I mentioned to you briefly, data is another area where many exchanges abroad earn a lot of income, 30-40%. In India, we have taken a very conscious stand that data belongs to the person who originates it. So data should be freely available to the customer, should not be charged. Having said that, when you enrich the data by making it analytical, that can be sold to people who could be researchers or it could be strategists. There, BSE had not made any beginning at all in the last decades. Whereas every other exchange has made a lot of development in their side and they are able to cater to their customers by providing value-added data. So we have a long catch-up game to do there. I think that is another area where we should work into and we should diversify. To put it simply, diversify revenue, create infrastructure and customer delight to ensure sustainability and growth will be the path for us in the coming year.
Wrap, we spoke to you last time just ahead of Diwali. That was an auspicious time. We are speaking to you after New Year. So what is your crystal ball indicating what is in store for us this year?
In store in respect of what?
I'm sure by now, sir, you must have connected the dots in terms of what this year means for us in terms of spirituality, what this year means in terms of, how the stars are aligned.
In terms of spirituality, see, I'll give you a new meaning for the word Bharat. People typically say Bharat, king say people came, so we are calling ourselves as Bharat. There is one another explanation to it. Bhayam rataha bharataha. Bha means illumination, a path towards light, which I mentioned to you in your Diwali day. So it's not a goal, it is a path, and it continues forever. Always in search of knowledge and illumination is what we will march, and our march will continue. Once when I was a young boy, I asked my Sanskrit teacher, when he was teaching me philosophy, Advaita Vedanta, I asked, till how long one should read Advaita to understand it? He made a single word as a reply to me, Amaranantam.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.